So today we shall discuss about some of the previous year questions which were asked on the topic of sexual reproduction by flowering plants in the NEET examination. So first we shall go with the first question, that is persistent nucleus in seed is known as perisperm. Tegmen, it is actually the covering of seed. Chalaja, it is micropylar end and chalajal end. Hilum, it is the point of attachment of funicle with placenta is known as hilum. But what are asked is persistent nucleus in the seed is known as perisperm. What is the fate of male gametes discharged in the synergids? What is the fate of male gametes discharged in the synergids? Or one fuses with the egg and another fuses with the central cell. One fuses with the egg, another degenerates in the synergid. All fuses with the egg. One fuses with the egg, another fuses with the synergid nucleus. So the answer is the one fuses with the egg cell and one fuses with the central cell having the polar nuclei. This is double fertilization and triple fusion concept. Okay, which one of the following statement regarding post fertilization development in flowering plant is incorrect? I mean false statements. Ovule develops into embryo sac, ovary develops into fruit, zygote develops into embryo, central cell develops into endosperm. So which statement is incorrect? Central cell develops into endosperm, yes, correct. Zygote develops into embryo, correct. Ovary develops into fruit, yes. Ovules develop into embryo sac, no. Ovules develop into seed. So the wrong statement is ovule develops into embryo sac. Which is the most common type of embryo sac in angiosperm? Tetrasporic with one mitotic stage of division, no. Monosporic with 3 sequential mitotic division, monosporic with 2 sequential mitotic division, bisporic with 2 sequential mitotic division. So here we can explain the concept of monosporic type of embryo sac development. So you initially megaspore, mother cell will be there, it undergoes meiotic division. After meiotic division, it gives rise to 4 megaspores. Out of 4 megaspores, 3 degenerates, only 1 becomes functional. This functional megaspore undergoes first mitotic division, gives rise to 2 nucleus, second mitotic division gives rise to 4 nucleus, third mitotic division gives rise to 8 nucleus. Then they form antipodal cells, 2 synergid cell, 1 egg cell and 1 central cell with 2 nucleus. So answer is monosporic with 3 sequential mitotic division. Monosporic with 3 sequential mitotic division. Which type of pollination takes place in Vallisneria? Vallisneria is an example of a hydrophyte which grows within the water. Hence the pollination takes place with the help of water. Hence the pollination occurs in submerged condition by water. Flowers emerge above the surface of water and pollination occurs by the insects. Flowers emerge above the water surface and the pollen is carried by wind. Male flowers are carried by water currents to female flowers at the surface of water. So the answer is D. In which of the following both autogamy and neotogamy are prevented? What is autogamy? Transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of a same flower of a same plant is known as autogamy. What is neotogamy? Transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of a different flower of a same plant is known as neotogamy. Here both are prevented, that is papaya. Means here conditional cross pollination is taking place, means transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of a different plant. So in papaya what happens? It is a dioecious plant, means male plant is different, female plant is different, pollination is taking place, that is absolutely a cross pollination, means transfer of pollen grains from one plant to another plant taking place. So both autogamy is prevented, neotogamy is prevented. This is one of the condition, one of outbreeding devices, one of the condition in outbreeding devices. Okay, next. Which of the following has proved helpful in preventing pollen as a fossil? So we all studied the pollen structure. It is having outer exine, inner intine. Outer exine is covered by a special type of a chemical known as a sporopollenin is known as sporopollenin. So the question is, which of the following has proved helpful in preserving pollen as a fossil? That is sporopollenin. Winged pollen grains is present in, it is present in pinus, so that they can be easily carried through wind. Double fertilization is, what is double fertilization? It is the fusion of two male gametes of pollen tube with two different eggs. No. Fusion of one male gamete with two polar nuclei. Fusion of two male gametes with one egg. Syngamy and triple fusion. This is the correct answer. Syngamy is one fuses with the egg cell. This is known as syngamy. One fuses with the central cell, forming triple fusion. Functional megaspore in angiosperm develops into the functional megaspore. Now, just now I explained the functional megaspore. 3 megaspores are developed. Out of this, only one generates, another 3 disintegrates, and this one gives rise to, it gives rise to embryo sac. Attractants and rewards are required for, it is required for entomophily. Entomophily is pollination by insects. Hydrophily is pollination by water. Anemophily is pollination by wind. What is cleistogamy? It is a condition where all the flowers are, the flower is completely closed. So the answer is entomophily, means pollination by insects. Flowers which have single ovule in the ovary and are packed into inflorescence are usually pollinated by wind. So usually all the grass families which are wind pollinated plants, they will be having single ovule and they will be having a feathery stigma. They will be having feathery stigma. So answer is wind. A dioecious flowering plant prevents both. Just now I explained in question number 6. So here autogamy and netogamy is both prevented in papaya. So papaya is a dioecious plant. Same question is asked here. A dioecious flowering plant prevents both autogamy and netogamy. This is 13. Next is 14th question. Double fertilization is exhibited by, double fertilization can be seen only in angiosperms. It cannot be seen in algae, it cannot be seen in fungi, it cannot be seen in gymnosperms. It is only seen in angiosperms. In majority of angiosperm, egg has a filiform apparatus. There are numerous antipodal cells. Reductional division occurs in megaspore mother cell. A small central cell is present in the embryo sac. Reductional division occurs in megaspore mother cell. Egg has filiform apparatus? No, it is at the synergids, at the micropylar, and a separate tissue is present or separate cells are present. They are known as filiform apparatus. There are numerous antipodals? No, only 3 antipodals are present. Reductional division occurs in megaspore mother cell. Yes, small central cell is present in the embryo sac. Okay, the answer is reductional division occurs in megaspore mother cell. Pollination in water hyacinth and water lily is brought about by the agency of, already it is there in the question, they are present within the water, hence they are known as hydrophytes, hence it is carried out by water. The ovule of an angiosperm is technically equivalent to, ovule of an angiosperm is a technically equivalent to megasporangium. It is a megasporangium. So within the ovule, seeds are present. Seeds are known as, or embryo sac is present. Embryo sac is known as megaspore. Megaspore bearing structure, which is bearing the megaspore, it is ovule. Hence ovule is known as megasporangium. Coconut water from a tender coconut represents, so it is a free nuclear endosperm. It is actually, the coconut water is endosperm. So what happens? The primary endosperm nucleus undergoes division, gives rise to number of nucleus without a cell wall formation. This is known as a nuclear endosperm. This is best example for nuclear endosperm is coconut. So the answer is a free nuclear endosperm. The edible part of the coconut is endosperm, that is free nuclear endosperm. Which one of the following statement is not true? Means false statement. Pollen grains of many species causes severe allergies. Yes. Stored pollen in liquid nitrogen can be used in the crop breeding program. Yes. Tapetum helps in the dehiscence of anther. Exine of the pollen grain is made up of sporopollenin. No. Yes, exine is made up of sporopollenin. Tapetum helps in the dehiscence of anther. No. Tapetum helps in development of or nourishes the developing embryo pollen grains. Hence, the answer is tapetum. Seed formation without fertilization in flowering plant involves the process of apomixis. Apomixis is a process, it is a type of asexual reproduction where embryos are formed without the act of fertilization. This is known as apomixis. Which of the following statement is not correct? Means a false statement. Pollen germination and pollen tube growth are regulated by the chemical components of pollen interacting with those of the pistil. No. Some reptiles, the pollen germination and pollen tube growth are regulated by chemical components of pollen interacting with those of the pistil. Yes, this is the correct statement. Some reptiles have also been reported as pollinators. Yes, pollen grains of many species can germinate on the stigma of a flower, but only one pollen tube of the same species grows into style. Insects that consume pollen or nectar without bringing about pollination are called as pollen robbers. So, all the statements are correct. This statement is wrong. The pollen grains of many species can germinate on the stigma. This is the false statement. Why? Because many pollen grains can come and sit on the stigma, but they cannot germinate. They cannot germinate. If it is of its own species, then this pollen tube will germinate, or else it is clearly rejected. It will not allow to germinate the pollens of other plants or other species. Hence, option C, that is a false statement. So, that will be the correct answer. Proximal end of the filament of a stamen is attached to, thalamus or petal. It is not attached to placenta. It is anther means, so we are talking about the anther only. This is anther lobe and anther filament. Proximal end means at the end. At the top it is attached to the anther with the help of a connective tissue, but at the end it is attached to, that is proximal end, it is attached to thalamus, a cup shaped structure which provides attachment for the sepals, petals, androecium and gynoecium. Hence, the answer is thalamus. Filiform apparatus is a characteristic feature of synergids. In angiosperms, microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. What in these two, what is common? Occurs in ovule? No. Occurs in anther? No. From gametes without further division? No. It involves meiosis. Microsporogenesis happens within the anther, megasporogenesis happens within the ovule. So, they both undergo meiosis. Flowers are unisexual in. It is unisexual in Cucurbitaceae families. They all have unisexual flowers, means dioecious condition. Male plant is different, female plant is different. So, the answer is cucumber. The next one, which one of the following fruit is a parthenocarpic fruit? This is already explained, that is banana. Apple is a false fruit. Hence, the correct answer is banana. Here, the fertilization will not take place. Next is male gametophyte in angiosperm produces. Male gametophyte produces single sperm and 2 vegetative cells. 3 sperms, 2 sperms and a vegetative cell, single sperm and a vegetative cell. It produces 2 sperm cells and a vegetative cell. So, if this is a pollen, it undergoes asymmetrical division and gives rise to one large vegetative cell, small generative cell, nucleus of the generative cell divides and gives rise to 2 male gametes, or also known as sperms. Hence, 2 sperm cells and 1 vegetative cell. So, the option is C. Which of the following are the important floral rewards to animal pollinators? That is nectar and pollen grain. Okay, then Which of the following, which one of the following may require pollinators but is generally similar to autogamy? So we have three kinds of pollination: autogamy, neetogamy, and xenogamy. In autogamy, transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of a same flower of a same plant is known as autogamy. In neetogamy, transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of different flowers of a same plant. Different flowers of a same plant. In xenogamy, transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma of a different plant. So here the question is, which one of the following may require pollinators but is genetically similar to autogamy? Means it is neetogamy. Here also pollination is taking place, but here the anthers are transferring from pollen grains are transferring from anthers to stigma of a different flower of a same plant. Hence it is almost similar to autogamy only. So the answer is neetogamy. Which one of the following statement is